able to access on our website. I'll be working on that today. So all of this is very new, and we're learning a lot of how to create websites and navigate the internet with this whole new project. So welcome. And we have started a new program with Ellie 2 weeks ago on the third Friday of September, where we'll be presenting classes on the first and the third Friday of
Ơi,
every
con
month.
vô đi tắm cho mẹ, nhanh lên. Đứng lên đi tắm.
And we'll be doing different classes. We'll be providing you with different angles on things, different ways of working with the materials. And they're focused mainly on the elderly, people who are getting closer to the end of their life, who may need some assistance in many different ways, assistance both physically and mentally, for people who are close to dying, for those of us who are close to people who are dying, and then different other offerings, like for anybody who's going through any kind of transition who needs some support. So about 20 years ago, Sarani and we put together a program for Diamond Mountain, and I'm using that as a basis for the classes that I'll be teaching over the next few months. And I wasn't quite sure what to call it. So first I called it Good Life, Good Death. And now I'm calling it Good Life Beyond Death. So if you guys think of a better title for it, please do let me know. And please visit our website as well, and so you can see more about who we are. So with that, I will start class. And thank you for being here. So this is one of my favorite poets. And it kind of sums up at least how I feel about life and death. This body is a long-term rental. My skin is on a 70-year lease. Someday my bones will be a fossil and my atoms will be a breeze. My hair is here for a quick visit, and this brain won't linger too long. My heartbeats are a thunderstorm. My breaths are a love song. Our lives are a campfire spark. As we blaze against the night, our existence is a quick crack before we fall back into the light. Since we are here for just a single blink, we can't waste time fearing the grave. Embrace the moment, my sweet mayfly, 'cause life isn't the ocean, it's the wave. And the author's name is John Rodell. So today we're going to talk about thinking about what is ahead of us. Because really, knowing that we're going to die impacts how we live our lives, and also the other way around. How we live our lives impacts how we leave this world, how we came into it, how we've lived it, and then how we leave it. Somebody said something the other day, which I thought was really interesting, which was, you are the oldest, at this moment, you are the oldest you have been, right? You are the closest to death that you have been. And at the same time, you're also the youngest you will be for the rest of your life. So how are we going to live the rest of our lives? What will be the most important things for us to consider? So these and other questions are what we'll be talking about. And we're going to explore what thinking about or meditating on death can be and how it can inform how we live our life now. So what is death meditation and why do we need it? So the goal of these classes and meditation that will develop out of it is not to be morbid or get depressed or pessimistic or to have some kind of bad feeling about your death. That's not what we're talking about. We're actually doing some kind of empowering meditation. Like by the time you finish thinking about these things and meditating on them, you should feel stronger and empowered. And then life is like a party all the time. Your life is like going really, really well, and things are happening, and beautiful things are happening all around you. So let's first talk about our lives. We are super, what do I want to say? We are super fortunate, yeah, to have a human life, to have a human rebirth. Even though it has all its ups and downs and its heartbreaks, even though we have health challenges, we pretty much have all of our physical needs met. If you're on this call and you have a computer and internet, a roof over your head, food in the refrigerator, we're pretty fortunate, right? Our bodies are not broken to the point that we can't be here. We're able to think, right? And we can lose all of that at any moment. We know that we can't live forever. So what do we do with these kinds of thoughts? They can help us to come to a deeper understanding of our own impermanence, of our own death. As John Rodell said in the poem, we're just here for a moment. What can we do with this moment that we are here? So this is the kind of awareness that we want to work with, that we want to garden, to cultivate. And as we cultivate this awareness of our own impermanence, like we're just a flash here and for a moment, we become habituated to thinking about that and contemplating it and cultivating it, that it changes how we relate to the world while we're alive. Right? Just as anything does that we think about over and over again. It habituates us to think that way. So, what do we become habituated to? Do we know when we're going to die? No, we don't. It could be today. It could be tomorrow. So, what would be the best thing I could do to make the most of the time I have left? I mean, generally, when you get up in the morning, do you think, I'm going to die today? I know I don't. Will there be a today when we die? Of course there will. And we don't know when it is. So if we really knew we were going to die today, we would probably live our lives differently. How would we live them differently? That's what we're going to think about and talk about. How would we live our life differently? And if we don't die today, then we have more days to live well. Would I be doing what I'm doing now if today were my last day here? Of course, that doesn't mean you give up your responsibilities. Doesn't mean you walk out on your job or your family. But it does mean you take measure of what is important in your life. So there are 4 different contemplations about death. The first one is to consider the problems of not thinking about death. The second one is considering the benefits of thinking about it. And it's not something that, at least in my culture, I don't know about where all of you live, but these are not things that we think about very much. In fact, they're kind of frowned upon to think about them or talk about them. In the West, we kind of hide death away. Right? So, what are the problems? What are the benefits? And then what kind of death awareness do we want to think about? And then the fourth one is like, how do we do that?
Ồ, đau thấu xương.
So today we'll talk about the first 2 in this presentation, the problems of not contemplating and the benefits.
Mỏi. À,
And then the second pair
à.
we'll talk about in our next class together, which will be next month. And so the first one we're going to talk about is considering the problems of not thinking about death. So we'll go through some things that we can think about as to how they will impact our lives if we don't think about what's at the end of this time we have on this earth. We will continue to focus on small pleasures of this life. Chocolates, food, clothing, money, right? The little things in life. And even just modestly, most of our day is focused on our meals, right? What am I going to eat? What am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to eat for lunch? What am I going to eat for dinner? Do I need to go shopping? Is the food still fresh? How much time we spend on food, because we need food to nourish ourselves and to keep us going. But how much time do we want to spend on that? And then we focus on what we're going to wear, where to go next. How am I going to pay my bills? What people think of us. The politics in our country, the news, what our friends are doing, social media. These are all things of the world. And this is what we focus on in our daily lives, mostly, right? And it's a habit. It's just a habit. When we have clear awareness of the fragility, the impermanence of our life, and that we could die today or tonight, right? Until we have that, this will be what our focus is on. Yeah, it could be today or tonight, but you know what? It hasn't happened yet. So, not me. Not going to happen to me tonight. But do we know? If I were going to die today or tonight, maybe I should do something good with my life. Like help people who need help, who aren't as fortunate as me, right? Maybe there's something bigger I could be doing in my life. And that'll be different for each of us. Right? So begin to think about what is the most important thing in your life? And what is something that you can do to serve others in your life? And give your life and their life much more meaning. And we find it's interesting. I was listening to the radio a couple of days ago on my way to work, and they were saying science has found that for good mental state of mind, being kind is the best thing. And of course, many, many philosophers all over the world for many centuries have said this same thing. And here it is 20, 2,500 years or more later, where science is finally catching up and saying, oh, the best thing for our own happiness is being kind to others. So maybe that is the best thing I can do in my life, is to be kind and care for others. And then the second thing is we consider our death, but we don't think it's going to happen now, right? We think it's going to happen later. And so because we think it's going to happen later, we don't do anything about it now. We think, oh, I can do that tomorrow. I can help that person tomorrow, because in my heart, I don't believe death is coming now. I believe that it's going to come later, 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 and that I can do virtue later. Does later ever come? Later never comes, because it's always now. And there will be that moment, right, when it will be that day. So this could be something that gets in our way of really enriching our lives, helping us to be happy, right? Helping others to be happy. And so then at the time of death, we have a happy mind. But that can only happen if we get in the habit of it during our living time. One of the other problems is that if we do good, sometimes we do it for the wrong reason. We do it because we want to look good, for reputation only. So our natural motivation comes from our own self-interest, being concerned about me. We are the center of our world. Everything revolves around us. And so even when we do good things, and this isn't always true, so you have to check up for yourself. We want to look good to others. Like, do you go around announcing, oh, look what I did. Oh, I'm doing this, right? Or do you not care if anybody notices the good things that you do? We want our friends and our family to think that we're good people. And we want to think that we're good people too, right? And if we do something because we want to look good, the habit of doing it that way will get stronger if we don't think about death. Because we're constantly looking out for number one. How is this going to help me? And I'm not saying that that's what you do, but check it out. Check out what your mind is thinking when you do a kindness for somebody. And number 4, you do good things, but you have no enthusiasm. You're not excited about doing them, just like this young man who's got this pile of dishes to wash. He's not particularly happy about it. Right? He knows that it's a good thing, but it's like he's not happy. And this can be a problem as well if we don't think about our death and we just do good things because it's expected of us. Will you continue to do that good thing if it's just expected of you? No, you won't. You'll get tired and you'll eventually drop the practice. Because it has to come from a deeper place than others expecting you to do something. Maybe within that expectation, you want to make them happy. But if it's just a chore and you're not thinking about making someone else happy or anything else positive about it, except you're doing it because someone asked you to, then you can't sustain it. But if you think about, I am going to die. How could I use washing the dishes to help me create goodness in this life so that when I die, I have a happy state of mind? Then it gains more meaning. So how can we bring more meaning into our lives, into the daily things that we do? And number 5, you get deeper into this life. If you don't do death meditation, you get more invested in and entrenched, like deeply into this life. And you think, let me get as much as I possibly can out of this life. Let me be the richest person in the world. Right? Let me control this and that. I need this lifestyle and leisure and money and activities. Right? I need these things as I get older. And we get sucked into mundane, normal, neutral, non-virtuous activities. Making as much money as we can. Getting as much power as we can. Getting as many shoes and as much clothing as we can. And we can't take any of it with us, right? So if we don't think about these things, we just get deeper and deeper into this life, and we forget about goodness. We forget about serving others because we're only serving ourselves. And then at the time of death, you have intense regret. you realize that your life was wasted. You're sorry for how you lived your life. You didn't change your heart. You didn't change your character. You didn't change how you approached the world and how you related to others. And this feeling is intensified at death because you no longer have any time to change, to do something with your life because you already lived it. So better to think about it now than at the time of death when you're sick and not able to do anything. It's like, think about it now. What would I regret? Have I lived my life well? Am I living my life well? Right? Many of you are much younger here than I am. And you have a full life, we hope, ahead of you. How can I live it fully? How can I do goodness in the world so that I can die knowing that I brought some peace and kindness to the world? So you don't have regret. So those are the problems of not thinking about death. So what are the benefits of thinking about death? The good things you do are pure. You're doing good things for the right reasons. You're not doing it for others' approval. You're not doing it to gather more stuff for yourself. You're not doing it because you're going to get a whole lot of money for it. You're doing it for the right reasons. And because you're doing it for the right reasons, it feels really good, right? And so you do it more. And you do it more. And you feel better and better. And other people are being taken care of by what you are doing. Your goodness, the good things, right? So as you think about, as I invite you to think about your death, notice what it might inspire you to begin to do. And if you use this in your life, see which ones continue and are you enthusiastic about it? Which ones do you do to completion, to a successful conclusion? Which ones do you stick with? And as you do good things, if you do it for the right reasons, if you do it for caring for others, that's the right reason, right? Notice if your mind becomes happier or if it doesn't, right? Is it a stress? Oh, I'm doing this for somebody else. I don't have time for myself. Or I'm doing this for somebody else. And look how it's helped them and I feel so much happier. And you stick with it and you do it more. The second thing is your goodness gains power. It gets stronger and stronger and grows and grows. And if we felt we were going to die, we'd get serious and concentrate harder and have a stronger motivation to do good. Right? So we don't have those regrets. And the more goodness we do, the happier we become, the more powerful seeds we plant with our goodness. Right? And so when we leave this body behind, our minds are at peace. Our minds are happy. And that is really important when we leave this body behind. So you could imagine that contemplating this and meditating on it would be your last meditation before you die. Number 3, it helps us to get started. Thinking about it motivates us to give up something else that we were going to do and do some kindness. Practice some kindness. Integrate it into your life. And this is super important to integrate generosity, giving, kindness into our lives. Even before we do like other holy things. So what do I mean by that? Practicing kindness because we're thinking about, okay, on my deathbed, I don't want to regret anything. I want to be able to have a peaceful, happy mind when I leave this world. And we don't know where we're going to go after we leave this world. But if I have that mind, I can take that with me. Right? We know we can't take this body with us. So if we get into a habit of practicing goodness first, then that will permeate everything else we do. So it is super important. Whatever else we do, whatever other kind of work we do, whatever we bring to our relationships, they will get sweeter and sweeter and more powerful. And then number 4, because it has now become this very happy habit, it keeps you going strong. You know, practicing this, it will have its ups and downs. And when your practice is down, thinking about death helps to lift you back up. It's like if you're feeling crappy today, if you think about, wait a minute, I don't have much time here, or I don't know how much time I have here, right? It helps to lift you back up rather than, I don't know how much time I have left here, so I may as well stay down. I may as well be depressed. I may as well think of myself as not a good person, whatever it is. If you stop a moment and think, wait a minute, today could be my last day. Do I want to stay thinking like this? It helps. It helps to lift your spirits back up. And you just keep going. When all the pieces fall apart, you just happily keep going. Because it's the best thing to do. And then number 5, it gets you to the end. So here we have this guy, he's got this huge mess, right? And he's thinking about, well, I got to clean up my mess before I die, right? And when we're working on kindness, when we're working on generosity, when we're practicing these things, and when it gets hard, and you're like pushing to finish it, it's like 75% of, you're 75% like there to the finish. And then your energy just fades. Right? And then death meditation keeps you going. And it gets you to the end. So this is another benefit of thinking about, I only have a limited time here in this world. I don't know when I'm going to die. Don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen at some point. And it helps to keep you going until you get the job done. And then you die with satisfaction. So as you near the end of your life, your choices provide, the choices that you made in your life provide more satisfaction. The older you get, the more you know that. The more you know that you made the right choices. You see the wisdom of your choices in this life. You feel satisfied of having chosen kindness and goodness, and it now pays off. So that you can die with peace. You can die knowing you did the right thing, most of the time at least. Right? It's a learning process. It's a learning process. And that you made, or mostly made, the right choices. You see the wisdom in your choices. So these are different ways of thinking about our death, our impermanence, and what we can do, or what kind of state of mind we would like to garden, that we would like to cultivate while we have time in the world. And it's not about, what legacy I'm going to leave behind, what they'll say about me, how wonderful I am. It's about your own peace of mind. From choosing to do goodness in the world, to bring goodness to the world, to bring goodness to yourself, kindness to yourself, kindness to others. So we have this state of mind when we leave this world. So in the next class, we'll talk about the next class that I give, not the next class. The next class will be a class by Ellie. And I don't know what she'll be teaching yet. And so I invite you to stay tuned to see what she will be sharing with us. We do have a Telegram group called Blue Sky Friends, if you want to join that. And also everything will be posted on our website, and you can find out there, or you can just come and see what she has to share with us.
I could actually tell you right now.
Oh, fantastic. You're there. Great.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
do.
What I'm working on is a teaching about things that you can practice now in your life that will improve your life, and also how you can practice the same things at the time you're dying. And it will, so as you're dying, you think about these things and you focus on it, and that will push you into a better life in the future. So
Cool.
that's what I'm preparing to teach.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Glad you were here. So that's what the next class will be. And then my next class will be, what kind of death awareness do we want to develop, and how do we do that, which ties totally in with what Ellie is going to be teaching. And so there's time for questions if you would like to ask either of us. And otherwise, we hope to see all of you and more of you, hopefully, in 2 weeks' time. I'm looking at the chat. Are there any questions? No. Ronnie Quay? Oh, is in the waiting room. Open the door. So I guess I'm a good teacher because I'm letting you out of class early. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, day, night, wherever you are. And thank you for coming. And please spread the word about Blue Sky Friends. But we could tell you a little bit more about it, I guess. We have a little bit of time. Do you want to say anything about Blue Sky Friends, Ellie? You're still spotlighted here.
I can't think offhand, but maybe if people have questions.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing is that we've been kind of trying to define it because Geshe Michael asked us to create this group, and he didn't give us a whole lot of guidelines. But I think for us, especially as older women, it's something that we have, both of us have been practicing for a long time, like decades. And so we've, whether or not we've learned anything, at least we've heard a lot of teachings, which we're capable of passing them on. And at a certain time in your life, and maybe all the time, but as you get older, I think you start thinking more about the entirety of your life. How have you spent your life? And you can reflect back and say, maybe this wasn't a good idea, maybe that wasn't, or maybe this was a good idea. So it puts us in a position where we are interested in helping people who are maybe younger, or maybe people who are at the same time as us going through similar experiences, or also helping people who, as this is something you might not like, but as you get older, you start seeing your friends and family dying. And it's just inevitable because everyone's getting older. What do you do then? How do you relate to it? It's good to be prepared. Not that you have to be, think, oh, this is a terrible thing. You can make it into something beautiful. And so the whole purpose of life is helping others. And so one of the things that we also are hoping to be able to give is lots and lots of tools, ways that you can help others, and ways that we can help each other. So that's kind of my thinking about this program. And so we're trying to think of ways that we can do that. And actually, if you have ideas or if you have programs that you're doing yourself to help others, especially with getting old, getting sick, and dying, and even at a young age, if you're working with programs, or if you have any thoughts about that, then please contact us. And we'd love to, especially if you have things you're doing, we'd love to interview you and have you spotlight you on one of our shows. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great overview. Thank you so much. That lets you know a little bit more about what we're doing, and we'll be continuing these classes and hope to engage with you more. See you soon.